What's going on, everybody? Back with another episode of Slammed Outdoors, and in today's episode, it's too cold to fish outside. It is currently snowing at the end of March. Not happy about it, nothing I can do about it. Fish aren't biting, so in today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys the two easiest line to leader knots, and those are, in my opinion, the double uni knot and the surgeon's knot. And we're going to roll right into it. Welcome back, everybody. So once again, the two knots I'm going to be showing you today are the double uni and the surgeon's knot. So these are knots you'll primarily be needing to tie if you're tying from like braid mainline to fluorocarbon or mono. The other instance where you could have to tie this is if you're fishing somewhere, or if you're fishing around docks or something with really heavy cover and you just need a heavier line than your main line. But usually this is for people who are throwing with braid, and you're usually going to be throwing this to fluorocarbon. These were the first two knots I learned. These are the two simplest knots, in my opinion, to learn. And you can really use these in any circumstance. The two goals that you want to have with leader knots are to not have any major weak spots, and also to not have any trouble with it going through your guides. So each of these knots have their own advantage with that. The double uni knot is very strong and it goes through guides really well, whereas the surgeon's knot, I think, is just as strong, if not stronger, but it doesn't go through guides as well. Now, if you're fishing spinning rods or bait casting rods with really, really big eyes, it won't cause any trouble. But if you're fishing something like the Johnny Morris Carbon Light series, which have micro guides, it's not a knot that goes through micro guides very well. But that is my only complaint with it. So the first knot I'm going to show you guys is the surgeon's knot. This is not a very well-known knot. I'm guessing because of the trouble with it going through the eyes. This is, in my opinion, the easiest one to learn. So you're going to want to take your braid main line in one hand, and you're going to want to take your fluorocarbon or mono in your other hand. And you're going to want to just double them over each other like that. So you have both lines right on top of each other. Then this is the part that the more you do this, the easier it gets, is you're going to want to make a loop with both of them. So you have a loop with your braid, a loop with your mono, and then you're going to want to run both lines through that loop. And then just pull it tight like that. And then run both lines through it again, like that. And then after that happens, sorry about that, I lost a loop in there. This is really going to depend on how heavy of line you're throwing. So for me, if I'm throwing like a 15-pound braid main line to 8-pound leader, I'll take it through 5 to 6 times, whereas if I'm throwing 30-pound braid to 12-pound fluoro, I will only take it through 3 or 4 times. And that is because the lighter line is not as strong, so you want to do everything in your power to strengthen it. So for example, this is 30-pound to 12-pound. So I'm going to take it through 4 times, and then once you take it through, the only thing you have to do then is just pull it tight. Like that. And then you have a nice knot. And then the last step is to just cut your 2 tag ends. Now this is the place where if you're not careful, you can mess up, because a lot of people will get it as short as possible and cut into the top of their line. That down a little bit more. Just with the scissors I have available, I can't really do that. So that's what the end product should look like, and that is an easy leader knot you can tie in less than 30 or 40 seconds, and there's really no way to mess it up. So that is the surgeon's knot. I usually tie this knot if I'm fishing drop shots with spinning rods, or if I'm throwing a bait casting rod with really big eyes, just because it's really strong. I've never had any trouble with this breaking. Big fan of it, but I don't throw it if I have micro guides, just because it won't go through the guides. Alright, so the knot you just saw was the surgeon's knot. This is the double uni knot, and this is probably the most popular knot for tying a leader to. And this is one of the thinnest knots you can tie in terms of going through guides, and it's also one of the strongest, and it's very easy to tie. The really advanced knot you can learn is the FG knot. That knot just terrifies me, and I'm too scared to learn how to tie it, so I just haven't. I will probably do that at some point, but right now I have no aspirations to. So I'm going to be showing you guys the double uni knot. Now, if you guys know how to tie the fisherman's knot, this is very easy. I have a video up on that already. So I would recommend learning how to tie that before you learn this knot. And it's very similar to it. In fact, the fisherman's knot, some people just call it the uni knot, is you're going to want to, essentially, instead of tying this to a hook, all you want to do is just make a loop with your line. I always start with the braid. And then you're going to tie the fisherman's to that loop. So I like to just pull it tight like that, and then keep your braided line from going anywhere, or your main line if you're not throwing braid. And then just make some wraps. I usually do 5 to 6. 4, 5. Take it back through, and then take it back through again. Now this is the part where it starts to differ a little bit from the normal uni knot, is I personally don't pull this knot all the way tight yet. I'm just going to leave it like that. And that's because if you're not careful and you try and pull this all the way tight, you can pull it off of your braided line, and then you just tied a knot to absolutely nothing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did, but I'm going to use the braided line, and I'm going to tie the same exact knot, just on the other side. So I'm going to make 4 or 5 loops. And then run this back through. This is always, in my opinion, the harder side, because you have to get it through the braid, and the braid to me just reacts a little differently, and I just think it's a little harder to tie knots to. But once you have that tied tight, all you have to do is just pull it tight. And then once you get one side tight, sometimes you can just wet it, you can use your mouth or whatever. And then just pull it tight. And that's what it should look like. It's just 2 uni knots right on top of each other. Now, obviously, we're going to cut this to clean it up a little bit. So that's what the finished product should look like. At least something like that. And then this will go through your guides really easy. And this is overall just a great knot to learn. It's very useful. It's a very beneficial knot. And it's something I tie a lot. This is something I throw on anything that has micro guides, or anything where I'm worried about it catching on an eye. I always tie this knot. And it's very easy to learn. I recommend it. Alright, so you guys just saw me tie both knots. Now this one's just kind of for me. I'm going to see how fast I can tie each of these knots. So I'm going to start with the surgeon's knot just because it's a little faster. So I have both pieces of line already in my hand, kind of just ready to go. And I'm going to see how fast I can tie this, and go. Take it, make a loop, go through 1, 2, 3, and I'll go through a 4th time, and 4. Pull it tight and stop it. So without cutting the tag ends, this is a knot I can tie in about 10 seconds. Now, depending on the quality and the age of the line you're using, it could take you longer. And if you tie it a lot, you can definitely tie it faster. I've probably tied it faster than that before. But this is a knot I just love tying if I'm in a hurry. Just because if you're out on the water, the more time you spend fishing is everything. So this is not, I can maximize how much time I have to fish, and it's not going to let me down. So big fan of that. So that is actually the fastest knot I've tied on this channel so far. So huge fan of the surgeon's knot. All right, so you guys just saw me tie the surgeon's knot for time. This one is definitely not going to be as fast, just because it takes a lot longer to tie. But I'm going to see if I can do this in like under a minute. All right, take
my 2 pieces line here. I'm just going to start with a loop. Let's give myself a chance here. And go. All right. Gonna get it through the loop I just made. Wow, I'm not off to a good start. And just pull it, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back through, and through again. All right. Through one, and then the hard knots. 1, 2, 3. Oh, right now is my my extra leader knot is getting in the way. All right, there we go. And come on. We're gonna make it. And we made it. All right, sweet. So that was in a little under a minute. A little longer than I was hoping for, but those are 2 easy knots. Again, this is a knot I probably figured out how to tie a couple months ago. And obviously cut your leaders short, just so it goes through your eyes a little easier. And I'd recommend not using kitchen scissors for this, but this is what I had just lying around. But that is a pretty easy knot to learn how to tie. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, comment down below. And hopefully this will be the last one of these videos I make for a while, because it should get warm enough where I can just go fishing and catch stuff. But it is currently 30 degrees and snowing, so never really know what Ohio is going to bring. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, really helps the channel out. Appreciate you guys a lot, and we'll see you guys in the next video.